operative at half speed. Reasons for a flap fault are flap lever position does not match actual flap position, flap selections with one hydraulic system depressurized, flap selections with any flap system circuit breaker open, flap selections with short power interrupts, or flat lever out of detent for more than 4 seconds.
If flaps are not operated according to your SOPs, a flap fault can occur. On ground, a flight deck reset procedure may be performed. Maintenance personnel are needed if the reset was unsuccessful. Severe faults are brought to notice by the amber central warning panel caption, "Flap in-op." Flaps will be locked, also between the normal positions, and remain inoperative until they are reset on ground. A reason for a flap in-op condition is flap asymmetry. The flaps are locked in a position as soon as the asymmetry exceeds 2 degrees. It's safety lane 1 that signals the asymmetry brakes on. These asymmetry brakes are powered by the yellow hydraulic system, and control depends on the essential AC and DC bus bar. The flap computer, located in the avionics bay below the flight deck, has a fault code indicator on its front. Maintenance personnel will appreciate it if you note the indicated fault code before performing the flap reset procedure or depowering the bus bars. Again, the flap reset procedure can only be done on ground. A twin pedal type air brake is fitted as vertically split tail cone when fully closed. It may be operated at any altitude and at any airspeed with no restrictions. It opens 60 degrees on either side. Symmetrical deployment is assured by a mechanical interlink. The air brake is hydraulically powered by the green system and electronically signaled by DC2 bus bar. The combined air brake lift spoiler selector lever mounted on the center pedestal enables the air brakes to be selected to any position between in and out. Control is maintained by an electro-hydraulic system using command and response signals. Exercise caution when selecting air brake fully out to avoid inadvertent selection of lift spoilers. The air brake lever must not be moved to the lift spoilers position while in flight. No exact position indication is given. The 2 white flight annunciators only indicate that the air brake is not fully closed. Should electrical power to the control valve fail when the air brake is open, it will automatically close by green hydraulic pressure. Should the green hydraulic system fail when the air brake is open, it will be pushed in by airflow to a minimum drag position, which is not fully closed, so the white air brake flight annunciator remains lit. If the air brake is open, with the air brake select lever in the out position, advancing number 1 or number 4 thrust lever forward to the takeoff setting will activate the inhibited signal and cause the air brake to automatically close. The air brake will, however, open again when the thrust levers are retarded from the takeoff setting, unless the air brake select lever has subsequently been moved to the in position. There are a total of 6 lift spoiler panels, 3 on each wing. The two inner lift spoiler panels are powered by the yellow. The two center and two outer panels are powered by the green hydraulic system. The spoilers are inhibited in flight and can be deployed either manually or automatically on ground. They are signaled electrically. On the overhead anti-skid and lift spoilers panel, 3 spoiler control switches are fitted: auto spoiler, lift spoilers yellow, and lift spoilers green. In order to prevent lift spoilers from deploying on takeoff or in flight, the following general conditions must be met for spoiler deployment. The aircraft must be weight on wheels and at least 3 thrust levers at or below flight idle. For possible manual deployment, both lift spoiler yellow and green switches must be on. If one switch is off, the relevant spoiler panels will not deploy and an amber central warning panel caption, "Lift spoiler cell off," will be lit. To deploy lift spoilers manually after landing, move the air brake lever through a friction balk to the lift spoiler position. The yellow spoilers deploy immediately when lift spoiler is selected, provided at least 3 thrust levers are at or below flight idle and both main gear are weight on. The green spoilers, in turn, deploy 1.5 seconds after both main gear are weight on. Of course, only if the other prerequisites are also met. For automatic deployment, all 3 spoiler switches must be on. If the auto spoiler switch is off, a white central status panel caption, "Auto spoiler off," is lit. If the spoiler prerequisites are met, yellow auto spoiler deploy as soon as auto spoilers are signaled. Normally, they are signaled by a wheel spin-up signal of 33 knots from either the left or right main gear. Should the wheels not spin up on a contaminated runway, auto spoiler are signaled at the latest 5 seconds after touchdown. The green auto spoilers will deploy after auto spoilers have been signaled and both main gear have been weight on for 1.5 seconds. After landing, select the air brake lever to the lift spoiler detent as a backup. This effectively parallels the wheel spin-up signal. Auto spoilers will retract when the wheel speed is below 15 knots and the air brake lever is out of the lift spoiler position. Two green spoiler, yellow and green flight annunciators will light on the captain's and first officer's flight instrument panels as soon as hydraulic pressure is supplied to the respective spoiler actuators. If no other indications are displayed after 6 seconds, spoiler deployment was successful. Failure of one or more spoilers to deploy is indicated by 2 amber lift spoiler flight annunciators on the left and right side of the glare shield. The warning is activated if the lift spoilers have not deployed within 3 seconds of touchdown, with all prerequisites met for either automatic or manual deployment, or if the air brake lever has not been brought to the lift spoiler position in manual mode within 6 seconds of touchdown. In one of those cases, the pilots will have to be aware that the landing distance might be increased by up to 40%. 2 control signals to each spoiler selector valve are fitted. Should the 2 signals to a spoiler selector valve disagree, an amber, yellow, or green fail annunciator on the overhead anti-skid and lift spoilers subpanel illuminates together with a central warning panel amber spoiler caption that indicates reduced integrity and the relevant selector valve has to be disabled by switching the system off. A failure of the auto spoilers is indicated by an amber auto spoiler fault warning on the lift spoiler panel. Auto spoilers must be switched off and the amber warnings disappear. A white auto spoiler off caption illuminates on the central status panel. Each lift spoiler actuator has an internal mechanical lock which is released only by spoiler open hydraulic pressure. Failure of the locking function is indicated by an amber spoiler unlocked caption on the lift spoiler overhead panel and the amber spoiler central warning panel caption. Pilots must be aware that a spoiler might float up in flight, which could result in handling problems. The manual spoiler fault caption indicates that there is a fault in one of the squat switch systems. Protection against in-flight lift spoiler deployment is degraded. On landing, some or all of the spoilers may deploy, but deployment will always be symmetrical. Caution must be exercised in selecting air brake fully out to avoid inadvertent lift spoiler selection. If a takeoff is attempted in a hazardous aircraft configuration, the red central warning panel caption "Config" will illuminate. Both red attention getters will flash and an intermittent horn will sound. The following conditions will trigger the system: air brake not fully closed, lift spoilers not locked down, flaps in the up position, elevator trim not in the green band, aileron trim not in the neutral position, or park brake not released. The warning is armed on ground by advancing any thrust lever into takeoff range or by pressing the Config check button on the center pedestal. Any of the before mentioned unsafe for takeoff conditions will in turn activate the warnings. The attention getters can be canceled by pressing either button. The other warnings can only be canceled by retarding the thrust levers, which is a memory item according to QRH, or by correcting the unsafe condition. It is standard operating procedure to press the Config check button before takeoff to check the actual aircraft configuration. That enables the pilot to rectify any false condition before the thrust levers are advanced on takeoff roll. External checks are carried out in a clockwise direction from the nose of the aircraft. First, please check both angle of attack vanes and the Q-pot head. Click on the respective area to have a more detailed view. Then check the aileron with its servo and trim tab, flap and track fairings, the elevators with their servo and trim tabs, the tailplane,